Welcome to part 5 of Blender 4.5 course. I plan to introduce the modeling tools and how to shape a primitive 3D model to create a complicated and custom 3D model. You can access to all chapters and the other parts from the playlist here, and also the link is in the description. First, I want to introduce something that I forgot to mention in the transformation part in the previous chapters. Here, if I select a model or light or a thing in the scene, I can move it, but I can see the transformation values here in the properties and go to the object properties. Here, as you can see, we have 3 values for the location or position, 3 values for rotation, and 3 values for scale. Here I can increase the location X. Here, let's expand this panel and you can see the location X, and you can move it in the X direction, Y direction, and Z direction, and also the rotation, and also the scale. I wanted to say you can rotate, change the location, and also scale your object using these fields. And for example, if you want to create an object with a scale 1.5 for x-axis, you can easily do it here instead of using the shift space and scale and x. As you can see, this value is not accurate. And also I need to say each unit, each square here is a 1 unit. For example, if I insert 1, and as you can see, the center of the cube here now moved as much as a 1 square. Let's see more clearly. Scale it down here and insert 1, and now as you can see, we have a 1 unit for each square. Also, you can lock each direction. For example, if I drag and lock 3 directions in the location, I can't move it using the G key. I will upload every chapter of the course every week, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification to know about the new chapters and new tutorials. Now let's introduce the modeling section. To go to the modeling section, you can select your 3D model and press Tab key on keyboard. Now we are in modeling mode, or you can go to the modeling section. Here there are no any noticeable differences with the previous section where we can press the Tab key, but let's introduce the tools here. The most important part is the points that build this 3D object. We have 3 main parts. The first one is the vertex. Vertex is this point, this point, this point. If I select this or press 1 as the keyboard shortcut for vertex, and as you can see, it's selected. We can select one of these points here, these are vertices, and move it using the G key, or press shift and space and select the move tool. Here you can move and change the vertex position, or you can drag and select 2 vertices. The second component is edge. Edge is this line where a point connected to another point. You can select this or press 2 key on your keyboard. Here we can select edges and press G and move it. And the last section is polygon or face. Here we can select this or press 3 on your keyboard and select this intersection where 4 edges or 3 edges connected and build an intersection called face. And here you can select it and press G, and as you can see we can move it. Also we can select multiple faces or edges or vertices using the shift key. If I select this and press the shift and hold the shift key and select this, as you can see we have 2 polygons selected. Here we can press the G key and move it. We can do it for edges, 3 edges, or vertex. Alright, these are the main components of each 3D model. And for a complicated model, we have more vertices, more edges, and more faces. For example, if you want to create a pipe, you need a cylinder 3D model and you need to shape it and curve it. And curving it needs more edges. And make sure to keep your polygon and face count small, because a big amount of polygons can be heavy to compute. Alright, now let's introduce the modeling tools. Here we have a panel on the left side. You know about these transformation tools, measure tool, but with this button we can create a cube on the 3D model. Here we can draw it, and here the depth of the cube, and if I press the left click you can see the cube here. Also we can draw the cube on the 3D view, and outside of the 3D object we don't have any limitations, and this is not very useful and I don't want to focus on it in detail. But the next tool is very important. It's extrude tool, and the keyboard shortcut for it is the E key on your keyboard. Select it and you need to go to the face mode. It's arbitrary, but I prefer to switch to the face mode and select one of the faces, and here you need to hold this icon and press the left click and drag. Here, as you can see, a new face has been created and we have more faces and a new part on top of the cube. Also you can do it using the E key on your keyboard. It is very faster. You can select other faces here, and this is good. These are separate faces. You can select the move tool and select one of them, and here move it easily. Extrude tool is very useful, and I'll explain it on creating a 3D model from scratch in detail and the applications of it in depth. The next tool is insert faces, and the keyboard shortcut is I key on your keyboard. If you want the inner faces, you can select a polygon and face, and here we have a circular shape, and you can left click on it and drag. As you can see, we have inner faces here, and if I press E key to extrude, here as you can see we have this shape. For the intersection we need to use inset faces, and for the outer faces we need to use the extrude tool. We can make it more complicated here, and also we can add inner faces here and press extrude. This is very useful. The next tool is bevel. Bevel can make the edges smoother, and here let's select an edge, press the 2 key on your keyboard or this button and select the edge, and here we have a yellow circular icon. Here you can drag, and as you can see we have a smoother edge, or you can press the Ctrl B on your keyboard. Here when you apply the bevel tool, you have a bevel menu here. You can open it and change the attributes of the bevel. Here we can select vertices instead of edges, and it will affect on vertices. You can see we have smoother vertices or edge. Here in the width type we can select width between these options. It will change the method of the width. They haven't any noticeable differences. Here in the width we can change the width of the bevel tool, and the segment is the most important. It will add more edges and make it smoother, make this area smoother, and as you can see we have a smoother area. Here with the profile shape we can change the shape of this bevel. Here this shape or this shape, we can change it. Material index is not so important, I ignore it. Hardened normals means we have hardened edges instead of smoother edges. I will explain it, how to make a 3D model hard or soft. I will explain. The most important part is the profile type. Here we can change the shape of the bevel linearly, but in the custom type we can change the shape based on this curve. We can double click here. Here we can change the curve, and here we have a shape just like the curve. We have another shape here, and as you can see we have a shape just like this curve. We can increase the segments and achieve a more smoother shape. Also we can pick one of these curve methods to change the curve, and as you can see it's harder, it's smoother, and we can change each node more accurate. Also here we can change the shape and use the default shapes, for example support loops, or this, or this, and it's look like steps. For the other tools, for instance extrude, we have these options as well. Here let's apply the extrude, and here we have the list related to the extrude tool. Here in this menu, this option will remove the previous edges, and we don't have it, and it means this is not an extra part. Here in this directions we can change the X for the new shape, Y, and also Z. For the inset faces we have interesting options. Here let's apply it, and here in the thickness we can change the thickness of the inset, and also we can use the depth just like extrude, and here as you can see this is very useful. Also we can select outer and select the outer faces. It is easy to selecting the outer faces if you want, and preventing from selecting one by one using the shift and left click. The next tool is loop cut. If you want to add extra edges to the model, we can use this tool. Here if I select it, and the keyboard shortcut is Ctrl R. If I select the model, we have a yellow line, yellow preview edges, and if we have a loop and didn't change the structure and architecture of the cube, we can add a loop cut, loop edges. But here we've changed the structure of the cube, and we can't see a yellow edge on top of the cube, and as you can see it's not loop, and it's better to not add edge here, because the best shape for the edges is the loop, just like here. Press the left click and drag, and you can change the position of the edge loop. And here we have this loop. In the tool option we can change the number of cuts. Also we can change the scale of the edges. Here we have this, and also we can change the height of the edges using the factor. If I select the even and check it, here if I change the height of the edges, as you can see, it will stick to the last edges and doesn't go further. The next tool is the knife tool, and we can add free edges. For example, here, let's add a free edge from here, from this edge to this, and press enter. And as you can see, we have a free edge and it's not looped. And we can cancel the edge drawing using the right click. Here we can add another edge from here or from this vertex to this, and this to this, here. And now we have an edge loop. We can add custom edge loops using this tool. For example, if we can't add an edge loop using the loop code in this area, we can add just this preview, this for here, and here. For the rest of it, we can use the knife tool. Let's say enter, here, here. And here we have an edge loop using two methods, two tools. I will ignore some tools, they're not so important. Here we have the spin tool. We can select a specific polygon or face and use the spin tool. Here we can spin it, and here we can rotate it. As you can see, we have a new shape and it uses the extrude tool but more advanced. It is useful for some works, for instance creating the pipes in curved shapes. The next tool is edge slide, but it's not very useful because let's select the edge tool and select these two edges, and we can move two edges. The next tool is the edge slide, and we need to select the edge mode and select, for example, these two edges and slide and move these two edges. This is not so applicative because we shouldn't change the structure and the edge loop. This tool will destroy the edge loop, and here we don't have any edge loop anymore. Try to not use it if you don't have. And the last tool is rip region. We can completely move out a vertex. Here we can select this vertex and drag this circular region, and here, as you can see, the vertex is completely move out, and here we can disconnect this vertex here, disconnect this, and change the whole shape. Right, I introduced some important tools to create a model from scratch using the primitive shapes. In the next chapter, I will create a 3D model using these tools I have introduced.